Here at in this crypto world. My name is Cody. I'll be your host for today, and I am joined by the L1X team. Say hi, guys.
Hi.
All
Hi guys.
right.
Hi Cody.
So we're pretty excited about this one. Definitely got some great things coming up in this month as well as the next month and beyond. So that's what this episode is all about today, is getting you caught up, our community members, on what's up and what's coming up. So without further ado, let's kick it over to Kevin to kind of kick off today's episode of the Community AMA. Kevin, have a good one.
Thank you. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. Welcome back to L1X AMA. What I'll do is I'll share my screen. We'll get into the PowerPoint and, let's get into it, without wasting any time. Okay. Can you guys see my screen?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. All right. So we had an amazing Jan and Feb, and I'm sorry, I'm still a little under the weather, but I'll do my best. But moving forward, right, for at least the next 3 months, our goal is setting up fundamentals and picking up pace. And more importantly, the vision and the focus, number one, is making sure there is more liquidity coming into the release pool. Number two is launching projects such as G-Starter, which will add into the utility of the coin. So finding a strong utility for L1X coin. And number three, hackathon. And, along with hackathon, we have a lot of awareness creation strategies as well. And we'll get into that. So what I have done, for this AMA is I've categorized the pointers into multiple different categories. So the first one will go through ecosystem features and CAX activation, community engagement and gamification, the L1X app and ecosystem growth. And of course, at the end, we'll go through the brand awareness and the vision part, including the roadmap moving forward. Just a second. Okay. Okay. So we have the swap into L1X released on L1X swap. This allows you to directly swap in and out of L1X from the L1X swap. So you could go from your Ethereum coin into L1X on ETH, BNB, or Sol, and vice versa. So you could select BNB, you could select AVAX, you could select, Optimism. And the reason we have done this is you'll see in the later slides, we've got some solid traction on, L1X app itself. And this is one of the strategy that we are focusing upon as to creating smaller pockets of multiple different zones that at the end, flow into the release pool. So rather than finding and waiting for the silver bullet, we want to make sure that we make the iron hot by striking on it rather than waiting for the iron to get hot, right? So L1X swap is something that we will actually start pushing. And we do have certain booster programs available for this. EVM, Solana chain, both are included. And of course, you can swap with native USDC or USDT, into L1X. So the release pool has been activated for LBank and Bitmart. Give it a few hours, you will start seeing money flowing into the release pool from LBank and Bitmart as well. So that's going live today. And this marks our focus on activating the DEXs and CXs into the release pool. And we will have another category coming in, called as fee, which will be we will be charging users on multiple swaps on multiple different places on the application, which will again go into the release pool. And as I said, we are trying to create smaller pockets of things, smaller sources, so that it eventually adds up into the release pool. With regards to creating a booster program for swapping into L1X, along with the main campaign, which we have, for Swapathon, we will be having a Swapathon daily draw. And this daily draw basically is trying to create a little bit of hype, around the socials, around the Web3 community, to come in every day and try to do a swap into L1X. So you will have 3 different tickets that you can win. So the first ticket is for ETH, BNB, and Sol, respectively, and there will be a minimum amount that you need to swap into L1X and hold it for a certain time. It could be 24 to 48 hours. And every 24 hours, there will be a draw where you could win, more than $100 by swapping a minimum of $5 into L1X. So we are going to start it small, get some users, into it. And this will at least start getting more eyes into the, swap into L1X side of things, along with everyday excitement rather than waiting for a longer time for the competition, everyday prizes being given out to the people. With regards to the TaskOn performance, I believe Cody has taken over TaskOn, and Galaxy as well, but I'll get into it a little later. So compared to the last 2 weeks, we had 110% increase in task participants, and we had 92% increase in the task qualifiers. We've got more than 339,000 task qualifiers now. So, that has definitely helped. We have more than 175,000 members on TaskOn right now. It was zero probably in the month of December, but in 3 months, we have actually bumped it up to 175,000. It has definitely helped, but of course, we are not going to stop there. We are attacking other platforms as well with regards to that. With regards to Quest, we do have more than 151,000 Quest actions that are performed, which is a 35% increment, compared to when we went through it on 14th of Feb 2025. And our community size has gone up from 65,000 to 75,000 on Quest. We haven't actually put up more Quest as of right now. We are focusing on TaskOn, but the next one is very interesting because that's where our next focus is going to be upon, which is Galaxy. Cody, if you want to probably tell the community a little bit about Galaxy, because you're the one handling it, please feel free.
Yeah, so Galaxy I'm pretty excited about because it does open up a lot of opportunity. They are a pretty big community base as well as TaskOn. Likewise, they do some pretty interesting things which allow you to collaborate with other partnerships or other projects that are in their ecosystem. So a little bit more flexibility on the kind of tasks that we can create versus just kind of the generic templatized ones that we get with TaskOn. Galaxy will allow us to really start expanding out the different types of initiatives that we can do. So a little bit more to come on that one, but we're primarily going to be focused on, as Kevin has mentioned, the swaps and daily swaps, the type of swaps, the amount of swaps, things like that. And that's going to be our first initiative as we kind of rolled this one out, along with a few other ones, other networks that we'll be working on releasing as well. So if you are heavily participating in the TaskOn, you're going to love these other ones as well. But the whole model strategy is try to drive everybody down so we're in that TaskOn. So be waiting for some more news coming on this, but pretty excited about what we can do with it.
Yep. Thanks for that. And I think from the beginning, we always wanted to go on Galaxy. And just to add on what Cody mentioned, I think, driving Galaxy specifically with swaps and, how that will start generating more fees to be going into the release pool is, something that could be very beneficial to the liquidity in the release pool. Plus, taking users from all these different types of Quest platforms and transporting them into each other could double up the task that a user does. So instead of doing one, the same user can start doing two of them. So that's something that can be benefited out of it as well. Anyhow, moving on. So the NFT mint, so this is one more thing I think from the Galaxy perspective, where the IDs that are generated on Galaxy for users, they have data within them, and our NFT tiering system, we have kept it very simple, where you swap and you get a certain point. But we have started thinking to increase the functionality of these NFTs, more to do with the fact of on-chain data analytics. Plus, also, if you come in as a user, a specific type of dashboard being created for you. So all these things will be into the NFT section. And we had 283 total NFT mints, which is not high, which is not low, but it is definitely 3x than what we did in the year 2024. Already in the month of Jan and Feb. This comparison is going to get a little more crazier when I put up Google Analytics, but continuing on that, with the swap performance for the year 2025, we have done close to 43,300 swaps. We've already crossed that. This was taken in the morning with 0.89% swap fail ratio. Most of these fail ratios, just to let the users know, come from RPC endpoints, which is what Mike even pointed out that day, which are third-party services. And we do have a backup in terms of if an RPC fails, but usually these RPCs somehow or the other fail at the same time. And we are trying to find a solution for this to bring the swap fail ratio down to less than 0.1% in the next, by June this year. So 45,300 swaps done in the last 2 months. And right now, what the swaps have done and the swapathon have done is given a very strong use case for users to start coming into the L1X app, and from there going into multiple different places. But we'll start now leveraging the swap to let people swap into L1X, the new users swapping into L1X, again, adding liquidity into the release pool. With regards to the L1X app user visits, now why do we care? We care because apart from the core infrastructure, L1X app is positioned to push transactions and liquidity into the release pool. So user onboarding was something that we went through in the month of December. And what were we expecting? We have crossed that expectation with the number of users coming in. So in 2024 whole year, we had 47,000 active users, on the platform. 47,000 users came on the platform. But in 2025, for the month of Jan and Feb, we already have more than 83,000 users that came on the platform. So 1 month in 2025 was equal to the whole year in 2024. And when you start looking at these kind of numbers and our strategy to 10x it, 15x it this year is where we start looking at that traction in terms of the usage of our platform. So if in a month you're doing 40,000 users, and in some time we can take it to 500,000 users, that's a different level of scale than we are starting to talk about in terms of our service, closely reaching to something like Aave or something like even layer zeros, for example, right? Stargate. Moving on, I think this is where Ronnie may step in and explain to you guys about our strategy on how do we bootstrap the ecosystem protocol and give a utility to the coin from a strong fundamental perspective through a hackathon. Yeah, Ronnie, all yours.
Sure. Sure. Thanks, Kevin. Hope everyone can hear me well. Yes. So as Kevin mentioned, a lot of things planned for the protocol for this year. But now, if we take a step back, any protocol is only as valuable as the applications being built on it, and that holds true for L1X as well. Now, there are various ways to attract quality builders. What we are going with is with a hackathon, and there's a purposeful reason as to why we chose AI, because I guess like what's been happening over the last few years is that, or the last few months specifically, is that we see that AI plus blockchain is the area where there seems to be like a stronger product market fit emerging. And more importantly, it is relatively greenfield when it comes to chains. So when you look at, say, sustainability or asset tokenization, there are already a lot of chains out there that focus on those areas and at various levels of traction, whereas AI is fairly open. There are a few big names like Base in there, but otherwise there really aren't too many chains who can go out there and say that, when it comes to building AI plus blockchain products, we are among the top 5 choices for builders. There aren't really too many who can claim that. And our goal is to get in that, where to begin with, when it comes to building out AI applications, L1X becomes the chain of choice, or at least among the top 2 or 3 choices for builders. So as this slide says, there are a couple of specifics around the hackathon. But broadly speaking, we will be launching this in about 2 weeks, and it will run for about 8 weeks. So roughly March 18 to May 6 is what the duration of the timeline would be. Our goal is that we want to onboard at least 50 pre-TGE projects. And as Kevin was saying, the G-Starter Launchpad is going to be a critical component of our strategy in 2025. So we want to give these projects an opportunity to launch via the Launchpad. The total reward pool is $2 million in L1X tokens. And while we will be rewarding projects based on idea and execution, but most important is continued transactions. So essentially, we don't want to attract projects who kind of just come in for the hackathon, collect a prize money, and then go away. We want those who believe in L1X, who will deploy on mainnet and continue using L1X. And as this is slide, the other details about the incentives, but probably the most interesting piece over here is that we have instituted referral rewards. And really what we mean by this is that we took a conscious decision that that we did not want to go and work with accelerators because for various reasons, but more importantly, we wanted the community to come forward and help build out this chain, because at the end of the day, this is your project, right? So we want the community to go out there, see if they are within their network, if they're good quality builders, and refer them to this hackathon. So at a base level, for every successful referral, you get $250 in L1X coins, which are going to be valued at 50 cents. And currently the coin is at about $10, give or take. So if you think about it, you already have a 20x opportunity right off the bat if you bring in a good quality project that makes it past the first round. And with that, we have extra L1X incentives if your referred project reaches the top 15 or wins. So it's kind of additive. And while we are working out the exact numbers, think about it that if your referred project wins, you could get probably close to $1,000 in L1X coins, which when valued at 50 cents, give you a 20x opportunity. So it's probably like, you could potentially get $20,000 for bringing in a really good quality project. And that's the main focus over here. We want to get the community involved. Is the next slide, please, Kevin? Yep. All right. So again, very, very high level. Our goal over here is that we want at least 250 net new developers building AI applications on L1X. So if you have about 50 odd participants and say 5 members a team, then that gets us to our 250 number. And just to give everybody in the community a sense, if we have 50 submitting applications, we expect that we will select about 15 projects to build, of which we would have the top 5. Now, of course, if we get like a lot more good quality applications, and if it's tough to select 15, if that number has to go up, we will revisit that. But at a base level, this is what we are looking for. From a developer perspective, for folks who are going to go through this process, they will get recognition badges. Think of an L1X certified developer as someone who goes through the basic trainings and and at that point, like if they are kind of going through that work, they are an L1X certified developer. If they have created a project that kind of gets into the top 15, they get the L1X hero developer, and then of course the L1X hackathon winner is for those projects who win. And the learning will be via YouTube deep dive videos, the task on challenges, and I think like for developers, this is a great opportunity to showcase that they have actually gone through this, and they have like an extra technical skill in their armor. And that's really our entire goal about the hackathon, to attract good quality developers, to attract good quality projects, and promote the use of Launchpad and L1X as a chain in AI. So of course, we will be announcing this very soon, and we will be doing the social media marketing. But for the community, a heads up: if you or a project that is out there, and you think that they could benefit from L1X, then please keep this in mind. Please keep this in mind that there are several incentives for you to refer them to build on L1X through the hackathon. So really would just request the community to keep an eye out and help us as we try and make this a success.
Yeah, I think, and just on that, I think probably some recognition to be given to Srinivas and Prasanna as well, where they are pretty much integrated into the Indian developer and project community. Srinivas, if you would like to say something about this whole hackathon thing and how you guys envision it, please.
Yeah. Thank you, Kevin, and good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. So it's awesome to see the progress that we have been making at a rapid pace in the past 3 months. I think we have been always ahead of the milestones that we promised as of now. And I think it's a great idea to kickstart now that a lot of L1X tokens are in the market or in the hands of a lot of participants. It's time to improve the utility of that. So that can be done through this onboarding as many applications as possible. As Ronnie has rightly put, there have been a suite of applications developed in real estate, asset tokenization or some other application. But time AI agents is taking over, metaverse, AI agents, drones, and related applications around that, and smart cities or smart automation. These all projects are going to be taking off. And I think by targeting these domains, definitely, I think we can take a leadership in this because these are all sunrise sectors and long way to go, and we have little backlog in all these things. So definitely we can start focusing on these domains and encouraging the developers to learn more, to develop on L1X and access all the entire global ecosystem of blockchain projects. So that build in India and build for the world. That could be the sort of theme, and L1X can take a significant action in terms of enabling the blockchain manpower to be onboarded onto these developments in the cutting edge technology space and on the fourth generation platform. So I think we have been, I think, debating a lot. It's come to a good shape, and I think it's in the able hands. Very good team is there overseeing this, and Prasanna is already started working on how to, how to evangelize it across the ecosystem and India and MENA and Asia Pac. So we are going to take it to a lot of accelerators or universities or develop startups. But the idea is not to fund the these hackathons through accelerators, but to I think spark the entire the activity chain. So it's better to focus on the referral program. Referral program can speeden up and act as a catalyst to onboard as many developers on organizations as possible to try out L1X. So it's a much faster route, much with we can achieve much ROI, much higher ROI on our whatever investments we are making. So it's a very good strategy that we have come across, and I think it's been structured well. And execution is very important. And the next 2 to 3 months, we'll try to focus on this and ensure that we even surpass all the projections, whatever we have given, and the targets what we are laying out for ourselves. Because I'm seeing that whatever we have so far try to set aside as goals, we have been always surging past that. In fact, the sex listing, CX listing is something which we actually planned much later, very far into the horizon, but we already made significant progress on that. And then even all the community development. Another important thing is education, taking L1X to the masses, to all the developers across the country, across the ecosystem, as to how they can develop and launch their projects on the L1X platform. So that is something we are also focusing on, so that 2 months down the line, we'll be having a lot of developers who are very familiar about with launching the application, their dApps on L1X. So this will have, I think, a spiraling effect into the future and increase the demand substantially.
Yeah. Well, thanks for that. And Yeah, no, thanks for that, Srini. And there's another team member who's joined us, XR3, Vivek, probably, someone to bring on in the next AMA, who's working with Ronnie, Srinivas, and Prasanna. So we do have a strategy in place, and I think it's a great, booster, I would call it, because you've got the hackathon, then you have the G Starter Launchpad coming up, and the next thing that I'm going to go through is where our gray area is, meaning focusing on the swap and having the swapathon in there to start boosting up the swap was the gray area. Now, what's the gray area for projects to be onboarded, plus L1X coin to be a strong utility coin for projects building with us and features being rolled out. Now, let me go through. Okay. Um, I just wanted to clear one thing over here, which was, having your token multi-chain, where a project can launch on a base chain, such as, Layer 1x, Ethereum, it could be any other chain, versus actually being multi-chain are two different things. And, the differentiation comes into the point where previously we were trying to focus upon taking projects multi-chain, where initially the project's token should be on multiple different chain, and this is the route that we want to take initially, where we want to streamline the process of going multi-chain in terms of your token in such an easy and accessible manner that if there is a new project trying to do a TGE or launch their own token and they want to go multi-chain, that solution should be equal to Layer 1x. We are not going after the existing projects. We are not going after complicated projects that want to do X, Y, and Z. But initially, we will start the Xtalk bootstrapping mechanism with something called as Xtalk multi-chain token standard, right? XMTS, with integrated release pool. Now, let's go through this, and probably we'll understand it better. So we want to launch a campaign, called Deploy Everywhere, where the moment you want to launch your coin, you can deploy on multiple networks, where the category for market evolution and adoption, for example, users are everywhere. So projects must reach users on multiple different blockchains. Liquidity fragmentation. Now, of course, multiple chain token help unify liquidity from the perspective that there are two ways of going from one chain to the other. One is you burn your coin and you go to the other chain, where you give control in the hands of the users to go from one chain to the other. The other one is through projects, where projects manage the tokens on multiple different networks. So we want to provide the flexibility to the projects to decide how they want to use this. And with regards to regulatory standpoint as well, usually the lock and mint is preferred, because that is where also you can also manage your supply across different networks in a way where you don't end up minting extra tokens. Now, what is the objective here? The objective is, when a project is listing, right, and through personal experience over here as well, is you list on multiple dexes, you go on tier 3 CXs, and when you try to talk about volume, you try to talk about liquidity coming in, they are only possible on tier 1 exchanges, right? So something like Coinbase, it could be Binance, or your project is so utilitative, or if it's a meme coin, your DEX trading volume is high. But what about majority of the projects out there that have to go through the standard route of listing and getting adoption? So I think this kind of strategy of having your own multi-token standard with integrated release pool allows these projects to have a path where they can list on the dexes, list on tier 3 CXs, list on other dexes such as Aerodrome, Velodrome, while building up the liquidity in their initial listing phases. And then while this action is in progress, work towards listing on tier 1 exchanges. So it is a pathway that we want to create with this token standard, not just it being a tech that projects can adopt. Of course, with regards to the integration, we are going to make it as simple as you could go on, for example, layer 1x, or let's say you go on Ethereum, right? You deploy your contract on Ethereum for validation and liquidity. You use any other layer 2s for scalability. But let's say you go and deploy your contract on Ethereum for your token. You will have to just import 2 lines of code, in that contract, where you will allow Xtalk standard and release pool standard with certain sets of function. You do not have to deploy Xtalk contract anymore. Meaning, all you need to do is take your same contract, which you deploy on multiple different networks and through the developer SDK, or through the G-starters, tick box, and choose where you want to deploy. You can choose the networks you want to go to. So you could select Solana, Layer 1x, it could be Avalanche, it could be Base, and then click deploy or hit deploy on the wallet SDK. So our goal is to make sure that the Xtalk infrastructure is made so seamless that not only are you going to use Layer 1x as your base layer to deploy your token first and then go multi-chain, but at the same time, you can do it from one single piece of SDK. So you don't have to manage multiple different accounts for multiple different networks, multiple different SIGs, multi-sig wallets for different networks. And this is how we are going to make it accessible and seamless for projects to come in over here. With G-Starter, of course, you have the ability to take your token multi-chain, plus have release pool integrated into it. If a project is low on budget in terms of developer cost, because that's one more thing we have seen, that projects don't want to go multi-chain because it's pretty complex for them to go multi-chain at that point in time. So the very first step is to make sure that we can enable any project using Xtalk to go multi-chain with their token, access the users and liquidity from different networks, before we talk about is your project multi-chain or not. Now, the difference over there is, if your project is, let's say, a game, and you're rewarding users on one single chain, and you're accepting the users to come in to your game from multiple different networks, that's not multi-chain. So if I could take my rewards from Layer 1x to Binance and use it on the Binance chain, without actually moving my assets, just with verification, those are different types of contracts that are required. But until and unless you don't have your token onto your multiple different network with with these kind of requirements in today's market, including Web3 games, it's a pretty complex process to go through. So first we get the projects in by taking them multi-token, multi-network with their token, and then get multiple different contracts, like a complex way of taking a project multi-chain through Xtalk. So that's a seamless way of focusing on projects. And our goal is to partner up with as many as launchpads, market makers, marketing companies as possible, so that any project that's thinking to go release their token or launch their token, they can use our tech. So it's going to be a B2B2C kind of focus in here, where we are going to make the tech implementation the most seamless in the market. So that's our goal with the Xtalk multi-chain token standard. Of course, just summarizing this, bridgeless native multi-chain token movement via Xtalk, completely bridgeless. You will only use Xtalk infrastructure. The other one is seamless ERC20 integration, with cross-chain capabilities, where the reason I said we want to focus on old projects versus new projects versus old project is, if you look at solution like Layer 0, they have 2 different versions of something like this, where you have to upgrade your contract. And in our case, we want to make sure that we don't spread ourselves too thin in terms of not being able to accomplish either new projects or old projects. So initially getting 50 plus projects to launch their coin through Xtalk infrastructure is also going to give us a pathway into Xtalk version 2, which is a multi-chain roll up that we are aiming for. So it's all designed from the perspective of onboarding easy and extending whenever required. Automated supply and liquidity tracking. So today, if you use bridges to go take your token multi-chain, or you use Layer 0, there is no way you can track your supply and liquidity in a simple manner. you have to deploy multiple different types of contracts. With us, the Xtalk contract on the chain will allow you to track your liquidity across different networks. So it's a plug and play solution that you will have there. And of course, with GStarter, you'll have a no code solution available for the same technology, where GStarter will be using the same technology to power other projects, right? So it's one focus from the perspective of getting new projects in, and also with GStarter being one of the first projects to use this tech. Yeah, I think that's pretty important for us, because initially when you're talking about providing utility to a coin, unless you're Ethereum, unless you're Solana, there's a very few projects out there, layer ones out there, that actually use their own native coins as a form of utility, meaning you wouldn't need to use their native coins for that. You could have a wrapped coin of your own project with an account abstraction to pay for gas fee. So to say that your layer one coin has to be the first priority in terms of utility, I think that's not exactly true, as long as there is a mechanism where any transaction going through is done through the token of that layer one network. So we will see that in the coming time, where project tokens on layer 1x itself will be used to pay for the gas fee on the layer one protocol as well. Any thoughts here? Mike, Cody, Ronnie, Srinivas, please feel free to go.
I think the vision that you've had from the very beginning, if I go back a couple of years now, and the things that we were talking about and strategizing around, seeing some of those come into fruition now, and seeing our focus, seeing where we're getting to with the app, being able to go truly cross-chain. We're at that turning point right now where we'll actually start seeing Layer 1x getting adopted more and more as we move forward, and that comes across to probably to the right hand side of my screen, where we've got all the comments coming up from all of our community. Again, I'm going to repeat stuff I said last week, the week before, and jumping onto Cody's bandwagon, and that's around our users, our community, to get out there and start posting on Twitter, on Telegram, etc., about the capabilities. Identify, ask those questions, get in there and get involved in conversations with some of the posts that we put out there. Ask questions, and others, community members, can get in there and reply. And if that all builds up in that in that manner, then we get much more exposure. There's a lot of work we've been doing on the back end about projects. Yes, Kevin, you've done and some of the other team in the hackathon that's coming. We've got some pretty amazing stuff that we've been working on in the background. Some of it sometimes doesn't come off, others do. I've got one at the moment. I've just been invited across to one of the big three consulting firms here in WA to speak at one of their big events. So they get asked by clients out there in the traditional business about how they can adopt blockchain. So we'll go along there and have a bit of a talk to them about it and see how we can start promoting Layer 1x and the capabilities there. So there's all sorts of things happening. The hackathon should be good. We'll bring in some other external some developers, and if we can get 250 odd developers in there, teams of 5, that'd be fantastic. Some good things coming.
Yeah, just to kind of add to that as well. With doing the X talks and bringing them back, I told Kevin that it was going to take us a little bit of time to kind of rebuild up our street cred, in a sense, with these AMAs and within that little niche community of people doing these spaces. But thanks to you guys and your constant getting out there, as Mike said, and getting out on Twitter, getting out on all these different social media handles has been phenomenal, because we've been able to crank up the street cred, our credibility out again in a short amount of time. Right now, a lot of our X Talks episodes are starting to fill up weeks in advance. So that's really good. And I contribute a lot of that to our community's enthusiasm and participation. So again, as we continue to keep doing these X projects or these X Talks episodes, it's really opening up a lot of the doors and a lot of opportunity with some of these projects where we would most likely approach them and their walls would be up and they wouldn't really want to talk to us. But now that we can start these kind of conversations with the groups, just in general topics around the industry has really started to open up some new doors. So I'm kind of excited about that. And to Mike and Kevin's point that they're making, it's because of our community getting involved. So kudos to you guys on that one, and that'll help with our adoption along the way as well.
Yeah, mate, you're so right. It is down to the community and how they support us moving forward, how they get out there and start promoting. It all comes from that starting point of the community, and that will then see it grow more and more. Totally agree.
Yeah. And I think, Kevin, like the cross-chain token or the multi-chain token, that's going to be really interesting and if you just look at the last few weeks, I think Polygon announced that they're deploying the token in Solana. So there's a chain out there that's looking to do that. And in a few conversations that Kevin, you and I have been having with dApp builders as well as with other chains who sort of have a sharding architecture, what we are seeing is like dApp builders now need to access liquidity across chains for the dApps to be useful to the end customers. And similarly, with a lot of the, I guess, the sharding kind of an architecture, liquidity is getting fragmented within the ecosystem of a layer one itself. So I feel like your multi-chain tokens or solutions that can help sort of aggregate liquidity, access liquidity would be pretty awesome. And I see someone in the community talking about some sort of a working demo to help people understand this, and I feel and that's probably a good target for us to now work towards that. Let's see how we can get that going and use Cody to promote on the spaces.
Yeah, actually, see, a lot of concepts that we are talking about right now, I think, are sort of paradigm shift, for the entire ecosystem, as well as for people who have been involved with the ecosystem for the past few years before the L1X, and then have been used to doing in certain way. So this definitely, it's going to catch up, and as more and more people join, of course, we should position as a pioneer and a strong leader in this. And definitely, as Ronnie has said, we need to create a good the demo videos or training videos or educational material so that people are able to grasp it, and be the first one to educate people about the possibilities that this technology opens up. Yeah, I think that's awesome. I mean,
Yep.
like
And I
looks
think
like it used to look like science fiction a year back, but now I think we are very close to achieving that. So brick by brick, I think the foundation has been built and being utilized, put into action. I think the entire building is going to be ready soon. Yeah.
Yep. Thanks, Riz. And I think one of the things that in that question that was asked before about when we're going to see some things apps out there and things, all you've got to do to start with is look at the capability that we're providing via the L1X app, being able to do those swaps and be able to go cross-chain. That is a capability that nobody else can offer unless it's a bridge. We've been able to achieve that. The work Kevin and the team have done, that is probably the biggest use case that we can identify at the moment. Yes, we've got others coming, but don't forget to look at that core capability, which is it's been paramount from day one that we achieved that, and Kevin's done it.
Yes.
Yeah, I think thanks for that, Mike. And I think I like to think about this in this way, which is previously, one of the things that we focused upon is complex interoperability solutions, but the pivot had to be around something like WordPress for website, right? Versus you going and using JavaScript, HTML, and CSS for building a website. So layer one, intrinsically is like JavaScript, HTML, CSS when you want to go and build application. But if you look at WordPress, what WordPress did for websites, it put websites on the map, globally, if you think about it, right? And I think the ability of the multi-chain token standard will allow Xtalk to be on the map, focusing on one solution, where all the energy towards onboarding project is on that specific solution, right? Doesn't mean that you can't do anything else. You could do so many different things with Xtalk and Layer 1X, but focus of the foundation in terms of driving Xtalk initially, at least until 50 plus projects are onboarded, through the Xtalk multi-chain token standard. And if you think about USDT, right? USDT wouldn't be USDT today if they didn't go and deploy everywhere initially, right? like stable coins are like the glue that link all, protocols today. And I think that's where, building upon that glue is what we can allow for the projects to use. Okay. Moving forward, we do have this is a crazy picture. When I got it, I was, they posted it without asking me, but I was like, okay. But anyhow, I personally have been getting on to various podcasts and AMAs, and we've got one tomorrow. It's at 8 a.m. AWST, 7 p.m. EST, with Wolf Finance and Wolf Crypto. So both of them are going to be streaming it at the same time. Some pretty interesting conversations. So please, just go to L1X Twitter, and if you add it to your calendar, it's going to be a great podcast. But apart from that, on March 4th, 7th, and 10th, also I've got certain podcasts and spaces lined up. Apart from that, we do have more spaces and podcasts coming up after those dates as well. So we are trying to get out there. And the reason we decided to go with this route is, rather than thinking about how do we get 1 million people, 2 million people in, it's building it one step at a time, talking about the tech, talking about the vision, the practical goals that we have set for ourselves over the next 4 to 6 weeks, rather than focusing on the next year, 4 weeks, the next 4 weeks. I think that really drives the community as well to understand, okay, when they see measurable goals being delivered, that it breeds in more confidence, more validation into the team and the protocol that things are being achieved. Cody has been doing his own spaces as well. I do see Cody come up live. So Cody, if you have any more spaces coming up, and if you want to tell people about it, please go ahead.
Yeah, for sure. So every Thursday at it's 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, or excuse me, every Tuesday, every Tuesday, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, we always have our hosted version of X Talks, where we talk about a variety of different topics coming up. This next week, we have the DeFi dilemma. Are we building a financial freedom or what? Right? So we've got a pretty big panel coming up on that one. I believe it's right around 500,000 potential combined followers. So that usually means that we get quite a few live listeners as the show goes on. But definitely try to promote those so that all of our community can jump on those specific ones for sure. The reason why I need you guys to be jumping on those is we want to show anybody that's willing to participate on these AMAs that we can that we can drive a lot of eyeballs and, well, in this case, ears to these episodes. And so you can find the links to these. Excuse me, I'm suffering from a little bit of a cold here, but you can find these links on X. I try to promote them prior to, as well as just a couple of days before. I also send out a reminder just about 30 minutes before we start on those days. Likewise, we have Beans and the rest of the mods throwing them out into the Discord announcement channel. So the same place you'd find this one for Kevin, you'll find those there as well. So that's kind of like our kind of reactive approach to kind of getting people involved within the community. A proactive approach that I'm doing is I'm at least participating on 3 to 4. As Kevin's mentioned, he's seen me pop up a few times on a couple of different AMAs, and there's a rhyme and a reason for doing that. One is that a great way for us to establish our street cred within these spaces. But number two is it provides a lot of opportunity for us to go into all of these different kind of topics. From Kevin's brought up gaming. I think it was brought up earlier. I don't know. It's kind of early for me here, but RWAs, DeFi, yeah, you name it. There's all these different conversations that we can drop in. And one of the main objectives that I do, either on our own hosted ones or the ones that I'm jumping into to have that interoperability question, is I always challenge everybody to try the swap. If they haven't done so, I always try to get them to jump over and do the swap. So I'm doing the same shameless spiel and shill for the L1X app. And I would like to say that some of those stats that Kevin was contributing to or announcing earlier, hopefully the X Talks episodes have been contributing to some of that success. So we'll even take 0.25%. How about that, Kev? We'll say 1/4 of that is coming from us, but it is all a combined effort between what Kevin's doing by getting out there on these podcasts, what I'm doing on the X, what Ronnie's doing, what Mike's doing, what the rest of the whole team is doing, along with your guys' effort to get behind us and help push these narratives are key. It's very vital that we have the community support, and I think that we're starting to see it. It's something that we can really see on paper. It's tangible. Now we can actually grab onto it and go. And I think that this is a great direction that we're headed. There's a lot more that we want to do with the X Talk series, but gradually as we start stepping back into this full time again, there's going to be some amazing stuff that we'll be doing. And I can't wait to kind of roll that out for you guys a little bit later as the months unfold. So yeah, so that's me. Kevin, back to you, my friend.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. And, I definitely, believe that there is quite a lot of traffic coming in from the X spaces that that you do as well, 100%. And, more importantly, I think one of the other aspect to this is we have various people, reaching out to us now for spaces. For example, one of the representative from Mario Noffel's main account reached out to us for an X space, and I was speaking to Ronnie about it. Where they mentioned that they would love to have us on the space, but the pricing is something that we are very particular about. We don't overspend on things because it sounds good and because we could get it. We just don't go and push things out just like that. Anyhow, now going to the roadmap, down there. Okay. Now, with regards to, this is the roadmap that we have released on X as well as a post. Now, we do have the, swap that was released between ETH, BSC, and Sol. And I think thanks to the dev team, they are working, rock solid. They are working full time, round the clock to get things happen. So, a lot of things going on at the back with regards to single staking, of course, coming up, with regards to making sure that the balancer pool portal is opened up in the coming week or two at the max, with regards to staking into the core, with regards to making sure that the X-Talk upgrades are in place, swap between any network to different types of tokens. So the dev team has been working extremely hard to make this happen. So today, by the end of the day, we're going to release the Bitmart and LBank activation on the release pool. If it's not already done yet, just wait for a few hours. It will be out there, and you'll be able to see that there are funds that have come in from the exchanges that have been sold from the release pool. It will be visible in the release pool. We have the Swapathon daily draw. We are aiming for the 3rd of March, and this is where we believe that we are going to use all the platforms like TaskOn, Quest, Galaxy to start driving people into the Swapathon daily draw. And we might do a publication or two on the daily draw as well. With regards to the NFT tier revenue and claim panel, it's currently under testing. We have it going out on the 5th of March, where NFT holders will be able to go in and start claiming their fees, the portion of the fees that they are eligible for. And I think once this is done, there'll be more trust within the community coming up that it's important to hold the NFT tiers, which give you right to the fees. It could be from G-Starter in the coming time. It could be from any network to any token, coming up. On 6th of March is when we are planning to have the node, holders activate staking feature, where users will be able to go in and stake into the nodes. So the process will be nodes will have to go and activate that feature first for themselves, and then the users will be able to go and stake into the node. So this is a very big feature. It's a major upgrade that we are doing. And today we did upgrade the protocol to start soft testing it. So we will invite a few community members, including node operators, to come and start testing this feature out and slowly and gradually release this to everyone. And I think that rollout plan, always worked for us, where we opened it up for a few members, corrected any bugs coming up, and then keep rolling out to a larger set of community members. We also have between any network coming up on 7th of March. That's what we are aiming for. So you'll have multiple different networks in there, including Tron. We are aiming for Bitcoin as well, but this specific feature is also major for us. So we have 6th and 7th lined up for major features. We might delay a feature or two a week, based on the testing. So if the product isn't ready, we don't go out with it. We don't want to rush things, so we make sure that the product is ready to go. And this specific feature is definitely worth waiting for, because once the any network and any token comes out and you can access liquidity depth from these kind of platforms, one of the step forward that we want to take with the swap is probably after a little while, probably after 4 weeks, we want to come up with prepaid cards for swaps, where your NFT tier, if you have a NFT card, you'll be able to pre-buy gas fee and you'll get a discount on the swap. So this is one way of us moving into a revenue model where users can pre-buy their gas fee and get probably 70% discount, 60% discount on gas fees through us, and they can use it over a period of certain time. One-stop wallet profiler, again, a major feature where L1X app infrastructure and the UI UX of it is being upgraded for this, where right now if you go on it, you see advertising banners, you see based on what the feature is, we keep refreshing it, but this home screen is going to be specific to you. So you can bookmark it, keep it on your home screen on your Google Chrome or Arc browser, whatever you use. If you want to swap, you just go to the home screen. You don't even need to go to the swap page after that to make the swap. So we are coming up with this home screen specifically designed for you. So all your analytics, you can see it in one specific place. And then, of course, you'll have the home screen where you see all the banners, and the other things. With regards to the Xtalk upgrade and Xtalk open sourcing, we are working to make sure that all the new features in Xtalk, with the multi-chain token capability, there is some infrastructure upgrade we need to make. So we've pushed it back a little bit. And open sourcing that. The audit is already out there, of the Xtalk code as well. So once we complete the upgrade, we'll open source the Xtalk code as well, because we will not roll out the feature of the multi-chain token standard with Xtalk until we open source Xtalk. So that is what we have planned for this specific month. With regards to the single staking, currently for L1X, currently we have paused it, because we don't have the bandwidth right now in the dev team to actually pick it up. But that's something we are expecting to pick up after the first week of March. And with regards to the balancer pool funds going out, as I said previously, the dev team is pretty packed up. But in the next 2 weeks, the balancer pool portal will open up, where you can go in and start claiming your deposits that you have made. So by 15th of March is where we are planning to release that out to the people. Apart from that, we do have certain, Lionel is busy with the devs today. So apart from that, we do have certain swap tickets that we are working upon, lately, where we received a few tickets, but the team is on it. They are solving it. And we have prioritized certain things. So it might take a little bit, more time to solve the tickets. But all this is a little bit, a little bit hiccup in the journey, where we are trying to focus on things that is going to bring in more liquidity into the release pool, rather than spending our time that's not directly going to impact the release pool, which is going to impact all the community members involved with L1X. And that's about it. And before I close this, I think I just wanted to give a huge thank you to all the community members and the great testimonials that they have actually given out to us. And when I was speaking to one of the representative of the Mario Novel team, one of the things he mentioned was your community is very active. And I think for someone like that to say that the community is active, I think it's a testament to us itself, right? That whatever you are doing is working. It's only a matter of time now and the right push that we need to do, moving forward. So all those guys who have recently come in, thank you for that. But all those guys who have been there, from the months of September, October, November, pushing this out there, they're belief has not been shaken. I think a huge thank you to them as well, without whom all these upgrades and changes would never have been done. So yeah, thank you.
Totally.
Yeah.
Kevin, great update there. Sorry, Cody, I'm jumping in there for a sec. I think something else we might need to get out there as well is that I know we've got a couple of hats in the office, and they may not be the exclusive ones that Cody and I are wearing, but they're certainly got the L1X logo on there. I might have to work out a little competition amongst our community for posts on Twitter and comments, and once we get into those conversations, to see who might be the most eligible to receive a hat. And gladly I'll send it out to them. What do you reckon, Cody?
Yep. We should do a merchandise for sure.
Yep.
Yeah.
That sounds good. That sounds good.
It could even be a water bottle, L1X on it. So I know a few of our community have already got them, but I don't know, some little prizes out there. Let's get those posts out there, make it worthwhile. Absolutely.
100%. Yeah, I just want to echo what Kevin was just stating. Well, I guess it was 2 weeks ago, but it was our last AMA that we did. I challenged the community to focus on getting behind our posts rather than just retweeting everything out, which is great. We want to get behind it. We want to all get in unison and push one particular post. And you guys have done phenomenal with that. You guys have heeded that charge that I've given you. And so I want to share some interesting stats with you guys. Just in the last 2 weeks since I've given you guys that charge, this is on Twitter only, okay? Our engagement rate has jumped up to 65.1%. So from a marketing standpoint, I tell my clients, whenever you have an engagement rate on your posts at about 8 to 10%, open up the checkbook and pour on the paid ads, because you've got something that's really resonating with people and it's driving a lot of action, right? So to have it at 65.1%, that's a 207% growth. So kudos to you guys. And what does that really warrant out to on an engagement rate? That's all your comments, that's all your likes, that's all your profile views, media expansions, media watches, media listens, profile views, link clicks. It's all combined into one, right? So we're up 407% on engagement. So just on that long list that I gave you, 407%, which means that we're up from the previous 2 weeks, almost 220,000 engagements. So kudos to you guys again. But more importantly, that equates out to just under 500,000 organic impressions, meaning that we were able to push it to the masses. So thank you. And this is what's contributing to a lot of our success right now. We've said it before, we'll keep saying it again. It's our community sentiment, it's our community engagement, and it's our community reputation that's going to allow us to get in with not only new investors, new projects, but even VC people, right? We want that money coming in because it allows us to expand, but we wouldn't be able to do it without you. So kudos to our community. You know me, I will always continue to champion the voice of the community within the L1X organization as well as outside of it. So you can always count on me for that. But it's great to see that everybody is rallying around this whole concept of being the champion of the voice for L1X.
Absolutely.
So that's internally and that's externally, and I couldn't be more happier with it. So
sorry, Cody, question for you, mate. The number that you said was really good is around 8%. Can you tell us again that number that we're hitting?
65.1%. 207% higher than what we had the previous 2 weeks.
That's fantastic.
And I mean, if we really look at it in comparison here, our blend rate over the last 3 months, we've if we kind of settle it down, is still at 38.1% over the last 3 months of our social media engagement. And again, this is just on Twitter, okay?
Someone was doing a good job on X.
Yep, exactly, Kevin. Nice. Yeah. And we're definitely, if I take a look at it from there and even expand it out a year, we're still at 19.5% on the year. So that is phenomenal.
Excellent.
So it goes back to you guys getting involved, getting engaged. And again, if you didn't listen to the last AMA, I'll say it again because it's definitely working. If you happen to see anything on L1X that's promoting the swaps, anything that we post, get in and comment on it, like it, and retweet it. Comments are what's going to make this thing go nuts, right? If you look at the algorithms of all these social media platforms, it used to be the retweet was the holy grail, then it was the like, but the comments are the things that are going to get it going. So jump in there and start a conversation going. Jump into other people's stuff. I've jumped into quite a few of them saying like, I won't name the bridge, but it starts with start and ends in gate, and how much they hated it because it took too long and cost too much. And so I'm like, oh man, you really need to try the L1X app, and just threw the swap in there, the swap link, and we started a conversation off of it. So if I can do it, you guys could do it. And that's really all it is it's, you're not trying to push it. You're just jumping into the conversation saying, hey, I feel your pain, man. I just saved like 80% by going through this swap. Don't know if you've ever heard of it, but I found it and it's working out great. So it's those kind of conversations that you want to kind of cultivate, because you guys are the ones that are leading the charge on this and getting people to take note. And as I was mentioning earlier, you know, we've had a lot of good success with ramping back up our street cred within this space. And a lot of it has to do with you guys, because it's been amazing, because when I've jumped onto an AMA, people are like, oh yeah, I totally remember L1X, X Talks. That's awesome. You guys are back, you know, type of thing. So we definitely made a strong impression on these people. And, you know, sometimes it takes like 7-8 times of people hearing about something before they actually start looking into it. So just remember that. Even though somebody says not interested, hey, that's cool, you know, just kind of go on your merry way and your paths will cross again, and just kind of keep pounding that down, because eventually they will make the switch and they will come to find it, and they'll take us up on our challenge and try the swap for themselves. Because every person that I've told about the swap that has actually gone through and done it, they're not using anything else. So that's how we're going to get that adoption going, guys. So kudos to you guys. Thank you. I think what we'll do, Kevin, is maybe slip in some of these Twitter stats maybe in our next AMA, so that people can see that I'm not blowing smoke here. We're actually achieving these things. I'll definitely drop the one down in with the 65% off of it, so that you guys can see it in the Discord. So if that way you've got proof that we're actually moving the needle together. So
yeah, and I think just a quick mention, right? We have crossed 450,000 community members across all our socials and Quest platforms. That was 250,000 at the end of Jan. So
that's amazing.
yeah, I think Cody,
fantastic numbers.
done a good job.
Yeah. So it's a good one. So so I will try my best to post out there, like when I'm jumping on some AMAs and stuff, to have you guys jump in behind me. It's always nice to see all the names .L1X in their titles. But sometimes they're pre-planned. Other times they're just impromptu that we get invited to. But I will try my best to throw them out into the communities when we go. And in fact, we've got one coming up here at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'll be jumping into somebody else's. So if you want to jump into that one with me, just kind of be watching around Twitter on around 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and you guys can come in and help support. So don't know what it's going to be like, but got invited into it. But we're going to go represent L1X. So anything else you want to add into the conversation, Kevin or Mike or anybody?
Yeah, just me finally. I'd just like to just bring to attention, about Andrew A.S. Wyfield, who's been nonstop at getting me all the podcast and spaces. So he's a champion. Like, he's going out there and he's getting all these spaces. He got Wolf's attention. He got Mario Noffel's attention. He got so many people's attention. And he's done an amazing job bringing all these spaces and to the community. Yeah, that's all from me.
Brilliant effort. Yeah.
All right, Mike, You?
No,
Anything last words?
I think you summed it up, mate. I really liked your update on the Twitter side. I think they are fantastic numbers. Anybody that can say anything negative about that is just got their head in the sand. Pretty impressive, really. So yeah, great job.
100%. Running. Any of you guys? Last call. All right. Thanks again.
Cody, I mean, I think just one point I want to add, because I always like to give comparisons. I think L1X is going to do to the blockchain what Google has done to reaching out to any website. You go to Google and then go to any website. Instead of going to any blockchain, you go through L1X. I think I can see that. I can see the vision of that when you are talking about the way community is growing. Yeah, thank you.
Yep.
Absolutely.
100%.
Yeah. And thanks to the entire community and Ronak, Andrew. They are at behind the scenes part. Let me tell you, they are doing a lot of work.
I would agree. I would agree with that one. We've definitely got a good team. We've got a great community, and together we're definitely going to unite all of crypto. So with that being said, thanks everybody. It's been a great fun time this time around. We will see you on the next L1X Community AMA. And until then, let's keep working to unite all of crypto. Have a great rest of your weekend, wherever you're headed, and we'll catch you on the next one. Bye, everybody.
Bye. Ciao, ciao.